Hello and welcome. This is Israel Lopez, and today I'm reviewing Fishbowl 2015-5 Warehouse and Manufacturing Release Highlights. It's been a long couple of couple weeks. The last time I made this video was back in April, and they pushed out this new release rather quickly, I thought. In the past couple of weeks, I've been all around the world. I just came back from visiting the Fishbowl Inventory Australia team over in the Sunshine Coast near Brisbane, and I spent a lot of time with Simon over there at Fishbowl Inventory, getting to understand the team, understanding what needs are out there in the global market, and trying to bring some of that ideas back home with us. Just for fun, Fishbowl's office is to the left over here in the picture, and it was a great time. I really enjoyed my time, and thank you for the guys to host me out there. Then I came back to Dana Point. It's been a long time. I didn't spend a lot of time here. I ended up going to Orem, but since I showed you where Simon's office was, I think it was kind of a good idea to show you where I'm at. I'm over here onto the left side of the screen, and I spent some time over in Orem, meeting with the team of Fishbowl Inventory, just catching up real quick, spending the weekend out there. And in this aerial shot, Fishbowl's office is down here in the corner at the base of the mountains. But let's talk about this video. We have a lot to talk about. We have got a Dropbox integration to go over. We've got a Magento integration to go over. We've got some ship carton automation features that we can go through. They changed some of the modules inside of Fishbowl, just stuff you wouldn't necessarily see. Things that were hidden before now are coming to the forefront. Improvements to my little favorite data module, and changes to how credit card payments are taken inside of Fishbowl Inventory. And in this release, we've had over 37 bug fixes. I'm going to review only 2 of those that I knew about. So if you're experiencing them, please definitely upgrade to 2015-5. I know not every upgrade is seamless, but I wanted to implore that particular point. Please upgrade. The team at Fishbowl Inventory cannot move forward by fixing old bugs and old versions. You got to update to the new versions. That's all with that. Let's talk about some good stuff. Let's go into the Dropbox integration. So the Dropbox integration is something that I've seen previously, only because I'm a partner with them, so I get to see some pre-releases ahead of time. And I was really excited to see Dropbox integration come through. The way that it works is you only need one company account, one Dropbox account to work with the integration. You don't need to get your whole Office Dropbox accounts. You just need one. And it works with most Fishbowl Inventory modules, where it makes logical sense why you would want to attach documents to a particular part, product, PO, transfer order, receipt, shipment, things like that. And it also has an opportunity to work outside of Fishbowl, and I'll show you how that works. And because of that, we have the opportunity to consider using shared drives if you're an enterprise, if you have a server, to share this information across your enterprise without having to install Dropbox to all your computers. And I noticed that downloads are cached inside of Dropbox. It's a lot to go through. Let's show you off. Let's show it off. So the Dropbox integration is actually quite cool, and I've already kind of integrated it before previously, but I'll do it again. You have to go through and connect your account to Dropbox. Here, I'll remove it real quick, and I'll set it up again. You have to click on this URL. That'll take you to Dropbox, and if you're already logged in, it'll present you with this information, kind of like if you've used Evernote for Android or iOS, or VLC, other apps that use Dropbox integration directly, and you want to integrate the two. It kind of goes through this process to approve an app from Dropbox's side. We click on Allow. There's this code that we need to copy. Make sure you copy all of it. Go to Fishbowl, paste, and we're done. It's that easy. Next is the module associations. Now, these are all the modules that Fishbowl will expose a Dropbox tab showing you what files are attached to a particular record. We've got bill of materials, company, customer, manufacturer order, part, product, purchase order, receiving, sales order, shipping, transfer order, and vendor. we're going to go and drop over to our part module. We're going to open the hybrid bike, and you see that I already have some files here. I'm going to go ahead and actually switch over to another part and show you how parts or documents get loaded into Fishbowl Inventory. I'm going to pop over to my download tab here, folder, drag a file over, and there it works. And if you were to investigate what's happening on the Dropbox side, you'll notice that there's a new apps folder. If you've integrated other apps before, you would have seen this. And under the apps folder, you'll see a Fishbowl Inventory folder with a little puzzle piece on it that's indicating that this is an app folder. It's being managed by other applications. And within the Fishbowl Inventory folder, there's now another folder called Trial. That's actually the name of the company that's tied or connected to your Fishbowl Inventory database. In this case, it's the Trial database. And within that, you're going to have folders for all the different modules in Fishbowl, all the ones that I mentioned before, part, product, vendor, etc. And within that, you're going to have folders for all the documents or records by their name, indicating what's in there. So if I go to BB2004, we'll notice that that's that file that I uploaded earlier, and now that's there. But if you were using Dropbox and you wanted to add something without logging into Fishbowl, you can do that as well. Just add it to that folder inside of Dropbox. Here I'm going to upload a previously captured picture. Now that's there. And if I were to go back to Fishbowl and refresh the module, you'll notice that that image has come down. So Fishbowl is not necessarily tracking the files that are supposed to be in Dropbox. It just goes out and says, I'm going to look at my Dropbox folder for BP2004 and download the file list. And that's it. Downloading the files from Dropbox is interesting, because what's going to happen is you don't need Dropbox to download these files. The server, or the client, I believe, downloads the file and puts it into the Dropbox folder on wherever you installed Fishbowl. But that's the extent of it. So if you were a company that downloaded the Dropbox app on the server and shared the server, the Dropbox folder to the rest of the company, you can continue to use the Dropbox integration and have it sync between the two almost seamlessly, because once it's uploaded to Dropbox, then Dropbox knows about it. You can download it, things like that. You can really start building a paperless office structure from this, and it's a lot more organized, to be honest. I've worked with a lot of companies who have one shared folder for the whole enterprise, and it's thousands of folders, files, and things like that all over the place. And maybe this is a good stepping stone to a cloud office where you've got Fishbowl Inventory in the cloud, you've got Dropbox and your files in the cloud. You don't really need a server locally. Who knows if we'll get there, because I know Fishbowl needs to get more in tune with the cloud. But this is a step in the right direction. Okay, let's talk about Magento. So the Magento integration is really interesting. I'm going to start seeing Fishbowl do more shopping cart integrations. Probably because they want something on their own. Right now, the offerings that are out there by the Fishbowl Inventory partners, I don't do shopping carts, so I'm kind of impartial now, are, for lack of a better term, they're expensive, but they're good. They're premium. They do a lot, and they've been doing it for a long time. Fishbowl, however, is starting to promote a particular integration strategy for different types of companies who don't need premium solutions, but are just happy with the good enough. So as I've heard kind of briefly internally and externally, and from what I've seen, there's a good, better, and best strategy for integrating Magento. One of the foremost popular and useful and strategic Magento integration shopping carts out there. So for the good integration, you should really kind of consider it kind of good enough. There's another level of integration that Fishbowl offers. It's outside of the product. And there's finally the best premium solution that allows for customization and custom process and things like that. And that's offered by a company, but there's 3 currently partners in Fishbowl Inventory, but I only know of one called FishBooks Pro, and I'll be kind of comparing what Fishbowl offers to what they offer, just to give some better guidance on what to expect. So the Magento integration is really interesting. It took me a little bit to get connected, only because I didn't read the instructions, and I got an error message that I wish was a little more useful, but it is what it is. So this is their first integration solution that's out there, so I expect rough edges. But generally now, when you go to integrations Magento, you have the opportunity to set it up and connect a Fishbowl to one Magento installation, and that's it. You've got these options for downloading orders and updating inventory, but that's about it. There's not much more than that. So I'm going to go ahead and run the integration real quick in the setup schedule module. And if I go to sales order, there's my 3rd order from Magento. So that's really about it. It's pretty straightforward. The FishBooks Pro integration with Magento has a lot more customization from the perspective of detailing payment terms, ship terms, things like that are based on the customer. You don't have to use one customer. You can use the customer's own information to create one, or email address, or you can sync customers between Magento and Fishbowl based on customer account numbers. I know it's very common for using Magento, not a B2C, but B2B scenario. And you've got a lot of more functionality in terms of pushing information from Fishbowl and into Magento. You can, FishBooks Pro has the ability to push pictures and descriptions and product categories and product trees and custom field data. There's a lot that you can do. But if you have an existing Magento store, you have 100 items, and you're looking to just download orders as they come in, definitely use Fishbowl's offering, because it has enough functionality in there to download orders and get you by. But if you're the kind of company that is adding 50 items a week, you're pushing and pulling data all over the place, and you need some custom process to pull data in, definitely look at the what FishBooks Pro has offered in their FishMart solution. But again, definitely a great start to Fishbowl's own integration solutions. Again, they've got good, better, and best, and definitely consider the premium solutions offered by FishBooks Pro. Okay, let's talk about some automation in the shipment area, because that's some of the more messy parts inside of Fishbowl Inventory is dealing with the shipments. So my understanding was that the reason why some more attention was paid to the shipment area was that Fishbowl actually sent some developers to a local customer, and they wanted to see what their thoughts were on the latest versions, and they noticed that they were spending a lot of time creating cartons. And in the last release, they were adding carton functionality to be able to split cartons into and create multiple cartons. But what they've actually started doing is setting up what we call default carton types. So I've already set up here a pallet, a tube, and a medium box, and I've set the dimensions in here to indicate as such. Now they don't drive everything else other than just the names and the lengths and widths. If you're using UPS, you're still setting the package type, and you have to do that manually. But generally, they're spending a little more time so that people can actually use Fishbowl as a quick way to group things together by cartons, get them ready for the bill of ladings for the truck to pick them up if you're less than truckload, and generally speeding up the time that a shipping clerk has to do to be in here to make things work. So that I'm really glad to see that. And again, we've got the Dropbox integration here, so that if you had documents you needed to load, like export documents and things like that by shipment, you can just drop them in here real quick. Okay. Other things we should talk about is the rearrangements with some modules. So they've been moving and pushing things. For example, the currency module is now inside of accounting. There's an account integrations group where you have Dropbox, Magento, Merchant Services, and UPS Ready. They really needed their own group. Merchant Services are a little more obvious now of how to set that up. They're no longer in accounting. They're in Merchant Services on their own. UPS Ready was always here, but it was in a different module, kind of hidden away. Magento is now new here, and Dropbox is now new here. So it was time to actually put them in their own little group here and kind of showcase them off. So now, if you had an idea of what does Fishbowl integrate with, you can kind of get a quick list right in here. Secondly, real quick, is the payments inside of Fishbowl. Previously, if you weren't set up with a credit card processor, it would allow you to take a payment on a credit card information and then let it go through. No longer. It's going to tell you, hey, there's no integration with a credit card processor. Don't do it. Don't assume that you're going to get the money. I think there was a story presented on the Facebook user group for Fishbowl saying that there was a situation where they took a lot of payments and they didn't realize that that was happening, and that's where they ended up. They sent out the items, no payments were taken, and somebody got some free items. Not a good idea. I don't know really how that happened. You think they'd be careful about that, but I'm glad that Fishbowl is adding a functionality to tell you that, hey, it won't actually post. Some changes to the data module, real quick. They didn't really do too much to it. They added a new checkbox here for raw data. So before it was just this, where you just see the date issued and just a date. But now if you switch on to raw data, you can actually see the date issued and time. Might be a little useful to track down what's been happening inside of Fishbowl a Fishbowl inventory system. But generally, just some small changes here. I'm still waiting for parameters and more reporting functionality inside of the data module, but I'll wait for that to happen. And generally, there's been about 37 bug fixes in 2015.5, and I'm only going to highlight 2 out of all of them, only because they were really interesting to discover, but they kind of fixed it real quick. I think that's why they pushed out 2015.5 a little sooner. It was stable, it fixed some bugs, it needed to go out. So there was a situation with the new voiding functionality inside of Fishbowl, where if you voided the shipment and you were shipping in a 10-pack, but you stocked in eaches, it would actually set the 10-pack unit cost back to your accounting when you voided the shipment. That obviously causes problems with accounting, so they fixed that real quick. And then there was an issue where partial fulfillment of kits wouldn't ship inside of Fishbowl inventory. So that's being fixed in this release. That was also kind of included with the last shipment updates. But anyway, it's kind of odd to partially fulfill a kit, especially if you got kit pricing turned on. So I can see why Fishbowl had a little of an issue there, but I'm glad that they're fixing that, and that's in this release. Overall, there's been a lot of fixes, and I'm glad the integration is being worked on. There's always a lot more work to do, but generally, Fishbowl's always improving. Okay, and I think that's it for this video. I'm glad that you sat through all of it. I spent a lot of time trying to get the integrations to work and everything to play nicely. If you have any questions about this video or questions about Fishbowl inventory, or want to learn more about how to make Fishbowl inventory work better, please visit us over at our unofficial Fishbowl user group at fbusergroup.com. We'd love to have you there. Please ask any questions about this video on that website. Thank you and take care.